Good morning, everybody. Early morning crypto talk. Bitcoin Brandon here. We're going to get started in just a second. Sit back and relax. It is Wednesday, hump day. The week is halfway over. Hope you guys' week is going good so far. It is nice and rainy here in Southern California. And as I begin, I always state that I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news. I share my opinion and give suggestions, and you take that information and do as you please with it. You're an adult. Good morning, Bill Childers. What's going on? Good morning, Shane. Good morning, Miss LeBron from Puerto Rico. Good morning, Mahfouz, Keith, Victor, Anthony. Exciting times coming up. We are just one day away from soft launch, 15 days away from pre-launch. It's getting very, very exciting. A lot of work been put in the last couple of months. We're going to be bringing cryptocurrency education to the world. Good morning, Georgelina. If you follow these 4 principles, I call it my prime directive in the crypto space, you will have success. Number 1, education is the key. Education is everything. Get educated about this space before you spend a dime. Number 2, never spend money you cannot afford to lose. Don't put your house money up, your rent, your mortgage, your 401k. Number 3, always get your return on investment as fast as possible. Don't get greedy. Get your money out. So limit your risk. Now you're playing with house money after that. And the final thing is to remain focused. Have a game plan. Where do you want to be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now? What are you going to do to make that happen? Don't get sidetracked and distracted. There are many things out there to be a part of. Some of them are great, but you can't be a part of everything. You have limited resources. If you follow these 4 things, I cannot guarantee you success, but I can guarantee that you're going to limit your risk. And that's all you can ask for. So with that, let's go ahead and get started here. Let's talk about, there's a lot of news this morning because I did not do a late night crypto talk last night. So let's see how many we can get through. Now, Bill says he lost audio. Can you guys still hear me? If you can hear me, give me a like or a heart, thumbs up or something. So I want to make sure all of you didn't lose me. That's just Bill. Alright, good. I'm still broadcasting. Sometimes Facebook likes to, play funny with me depending on my topics. Shut me down. That's happened in the past. Alright, so the first one we can go over is word from the central bank. World Central Bank. They believe that crypto could risk bank runs. This is interesting. Let's see why they state this. And as always, we question everything, so I look to see who the author is. Edward Kelso. I'm 50-50 on him. 50-50 on his articles. So let's see what he has to say. How many central banks are actually considering their own version of cryptocurrency is unclear. Russia and Venezuela being the most infamous examples. To perhaps ward off serious consideration from more established economies, the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, the world's central bank to central bankers. Did you guys know that? Did you know that there's a bank for banks? Yeah, it's called the BIS. Is suggesting state-backed crypto might destabilize commercial banks' customer deposits, negatively impacting the efficiency of financial intermediation. So this is interesting here. You've got certain banks that are saying, instead of us adopting this whole Bitcoin and crypto stuff, let's create our own crypto. The United States is going to have the Fed coin. Canada is going to have the CAD coin. Russia is going to have the ruble coin. Venezuela already has the Petro coin. Estonia's coming out with their own. I just got word, because I'm going to Sweden next month, Sweden is also coming out with their own coin. And what it is, it's an attempt to get their citizens to look away from Bitcoin and stuff and stay with the state coin. But now we've got the bank, the World Central Bank, the bank that the bankers actually go to, putting out a warning about the banks doing this. Says, chairs of two BIS working groups, Klaus Lober from European Central Bank and Art Hubin from Netherlands Bank, submitted central bank digital currencies, a 34-page document meant to be a high-level overview of central bank digital currency implications for payments, monetary policy, and financial stability. The analysis of the committees reflects initial thinking in this rapidly evolving area and is a starting point for further discussion and research. It also highlights that the issuance of a CBDC requires careful consideration. The word careful in one form or another is sprinkled half a dozen times throughout, as in any steps towards the possible launch of a CBDC, which is their own digital currency, should be subject to careful and thorough consideration. Further research on the possible effects on interest rates, the structure of intermediation, financial stability, and financial supervision is warranted. The effects on movements in exchange rates and other asset prices remain largely unknown. So what is their problem? What are they afraid of? It says the BIS has been particularly vocal of late on the subject of crypto, as when last month its general manager stressed, while perhaps intended as an alternative payment system with no government involvement, it has become a combination of a bubble, a Ponzi scheme, and an environmental disaster. What the hell are you talking about? A bubble which has not been proven true in 9 years, yet you're still saying a bubble. A Ponzi scheme which also still has not been proven true. An environmental disaster. That's an interesting phrase to use. Do you know why they say that? Because they fear that the miners, the mining power, the electricity needed, consumed, they're saying it's going to cause an environmental disaster. Really? That's the best you can come up with? Like New York City being lit up isn't causing an environmental disaster? No, you're worried about Bitcoin miners? Get out of here with that. This is scare tactics. All right, I'm going to not read the rest of this. Let me give you guys just a heads up, a short heads up, because I've done many Facebook Lives and recordings on this topic. There is going to be a run on the bank. And it's not going to be because of crypto. Crypto is going to be what saves it. But here's what's going to happen. Do you want to know how the United States is going to introduce the Fed coin? No, there's two possibilities here. The first is, as Bank of America already has over 70 Bitcoin patents, Chase Bank is also doing the same thing. And one thing that they may do is ban, 100% ban, like China, all crypto-related activity, and state, we recognize that you guys love this crypto, digital currency stuff, so we're going to go ahead and give it to you, but we're going to give it to you in a regulated space. We're going to give it to you where it's backed by the government, where it's safe and secure, where there's no crime, where there's none of this other stuff. No money laundering, and it's called the Fed coin. There, you guys happy? You got your crypto. It's the Fed coin. That's one way. The other way that I think is more likely is that the U.S. economy is going to collapse. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. 2008 represented the greatest economic upheaval, collapse since the Great Depression. They call it the Great Recession. Banks that were too big to fail, businesses that were too big to fail, the government bailed out. Did you guys get bailed out? I don't remember you guys getting bailed out. But the governments and the banks sure did. And they caused it. The banks caused it with the mortgage crisis. If there was a distributed ledger technology, in other words, the blockchain back then, everybody could have saw it coming because all of their transactions would have been public knowledge. But they did all this stuff behind the scenes. and knew it was going to happen, and nobody went to jail. People lost their homes, their jobs, their 401ks, their savings, and still trying to recover 10 years later. But guess what? That wasn't the end of it. That was just the beginning of it. Think of a hurricane. You know, just last 6-7 months ago, we've got hit hard with hurricanes, in the worst in a century. 5 of them back to back to back to back to back. Hurricane Maria being the worst. And when you look at a hurricane, you've got the front end bands and you've got the back end bands. Looks like a galaxy spinning. And what 2008 was the front end bands we got slapped with. What we're in right now is the eye of the storm. Oh, everything's calm now. Everything's cool now. No, this is the eye of the storm. As it's still moving. And as it still moves, we're going to enter the back end bands. And the back end bands is where most of the damage is done, because the front end bands slapped everything down. The back end bands wipes everything away. There's nothing there to hold it back. No force field. You know, it's already been softened up. And when the back end band hits us, the economy, we are not in a position to bail out businesses, to bail out banks, to pour trillions of dollars into the system. We already did that 10 years ago. We can't do it again. So when that happens and a run on the bank happens, here's something that most people don't realize. There's about $2 trillion in circulation of cash in the United States. There's over $11 trillion in bank accounts. If everybody went to the bank to pull out their money, there's not enough money, physical money, to cover all of it. And when that happens, what do the banks do? They close shop. They will put locks on the door. That's what's called a run on the bank. The government's going to swoop on in with a solution, because you guys are going to be mad as hell because you want your cash and you can't pull it out of the bank. So what the government is going to do to swoop in to save the day is say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to honor and recognize all the money you have in your bank accounts, maybe up to 50%. We're going to introduce the Fed coin. Digital. We'll probably give you guys a little debit card or whatever, and all your money is going to be transferred from US dollar to the Fed coin at 50% value. So now you can use this debit card anywhere you want to make purchases, and all the stores and bank and whatever places you're spending your money has to recognize it, and all your money just went digital. Call it the Fed coin. And you're not going to be able to buy or sell anything without that Fed coin, because that's the only thing that allows you to have access to your money in the bank, and it's going to be government controlled. Some say that is what's in Revelations. The mark of the beast, 666. You cannot buy or sell without the mark. It might even be a chip. The technology has been here for 20 years. You might not even need a debit card. It might be even biotech, where just your fingerprint or your eyeball scan, and you've got access to your Fed coin stuff. That, to me, is the most likely way the U.S. government will introduce it, and it will be because we have no choice. The best way, I've learned this in debate. I've learned it in just negotiations. The best way to get what you want is to make the other person believe it's their idea. Women are good at doing this with their husbands. If I want to use that as an example. You want to get what you want, make him believe it's his idea. So the government can do the same doggone thing. We think it's in our best interest, and they're saving the day, when it was their plan all along. All right, I went way off track on that, but I wanted to make a point. This is why it's so important right now that you are in control and take advantage of your own financial future and destiny. Not rely on the government to come in and save the day. All right, let's go on to some other news here. Let's see. Barclays strikes payment deal with cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase in the UK. All right, what deal did they strike? Let me put the link in the chat box. Barclays agrees to offer cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase access to UK's faster payments system, or scheme they call it. That's good news, actually. Makes things happen faster. How many times you got to wait freaking 7 days or 10 days if you're doing a transfer with Coinbase just to get some Bitcoin? The deal comes after Coinbase gained approval from the UK's financial regulator. The UK is Coinbase's biggest market in the EU and is growing fast. So Coinbase is biggest in the United States. Now they're moving into Europe. Coinbase plans to increase staff members in London by 8 times to meet demand. Oh, they're making a big move over there. So Barclays has agreed to provide Coinbase with the necessary infrastructure. In other words, it says the UK is a huge market for us, Brexit or no Brexit. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, that's good. I'm not reading all that article. I'm moving on. Let's see. This one is, I don't want to do Coinbase taxes. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Let's talk about Google. I talked about, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, that the FBI, we found out, was the reason why Facebook banned all crypto-related advertising. They pressured them, which seems kind of funny to me, because why couldn't they stop all of these Russian bots from also doing all these fake ads and stuff in 2016? They could have done it. The FBI should have been all, no, but they're busy. They want to ban crypto. I always want to know what your motive is. Not what you're doing, why you're doing it. What's the real motive that you're not telling us all about? All of a sudden, the FBI wants to flex their muscle on crypto. Why? So they didn't stop with Facebook. They also were putting pressure for months on Google. Now we have word today, 24 hours after I did that article. Let me put this link in the chat box. How is Google going to respond? Well, we have an answer. Google will ban all cryptocurrency-related advertising. I shake my head on that one. Google is cracking down on cryptocurrency-related advertising. The company will no longer allow ads about cryptocurrency-related content, including ICOs, wallets, and trading advice from across any of its ad platforms. The move follows a similar ban by Facebook earlier this year. The company is updating its financial services-related ad policies to ban any advertising about cryptocurrency-related content, including ICOs, blah, 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 blah. That means that even companies with legitimate cryptocurrency offerings won't be allowed to serve ads through any of Google's ad products, which place advertising on its own sites as well as third-party websites. This update will go into effect in June 2018. Oh, wait, hold up. June 2018, why? Why not immediately? The only thing I can think of is people that might have already bought ads, because you can buy ads and have a set time frame on them. Like you can have an ad running for 7 days, 24 hours, 3 months. So I think that just might be when all of their advertising contracts run up. I don't know. It says, we don't have a crystal ball to know where the future is going to go with cryptocurrencies, but we've seen enough consumer harm or potential for consumer harm that it's an area that we want to approach with extreme caution. I call BS on that. Really? Consumer harm? How many ads do you already have out there that are infomercials, that are BS crap stuff that you know is, that you allow? But all of a sudden, crypto's the boogeyman that you feel you're going to have to protect everybody from. Google's hardline approach follows a similar ban that Facebook announced earlier this year. The news says, while the cryptocurrency boom has produced a lot of excitement and wealth, it's still a largely unregulated space and has spawned countless high-profile scams. This news comes as Google releases its annual Trust and Safety Ads report. Google said it took down more than 3.2 billion ads in 2017 that violated its policies, which is nearly double the 1.7 billion it removed the year before. Here's interesting. This article is from CNBC. There's not one mention of the FBI. Not one mention. See, this is why I say, guys, education is so important. Because we're educated, we know the FBI has something to do with this. We just reported on it yesterday. Yet mainstream news completely left that out. That the FBI has been pressuring. Don't you think that might be some important information to know? Why does CNBC not know this? Education is so important, guys. You're able to see through the BS. Always read multiple sources. Keep yourself updated. Let's move on, because there was another. Do I want to cover this? I'm going to cover this tonight. How Google and Facebook are making money from your personal data. And what one blockchain company is doing to stop it. I'll cover that one tonight. I want to get into education again, because here's an article out of Chicago. Bitcoin classes are all the rage for university students in Chicago. I cannot stress enough the importance of education. It's so important that Venezuela is giving education on crypto free to all of their citizens. Russia is doing the same thing on an even bigger scale. They've already got 2 pilot cities. They have an entire region the size bigger than Texas that is only designed to do crypto Ethereum mining. They want to be the world's largest mining of Ethereum. They're making cryptocurrencies legal. They're coming out with the crypto ruble in June. Vladimir Putin told the banks, don't get in the way of this innovation. He also said, whoever does not lead the way on this will be under the thumb of those countries who do. He also said that the Stone Age did not end due to lack of stones. It ended because of better technology. And it is important that our people understand this technology. Now we have Chicago. Oops, let me post this link here. Universities in America are now adding crypto education. And I say this because there are people out there, as we are about to launch Cryptogenics, which is an education platform. And I said yesterday, and I want to make it clear, it is not an investment platform in cryptocurrency. It is an education platform where we're going to teach you everything you need to know from basics to advanced about crypto. You take that knowledge and apply it on your own. I took knowledge that from my crypto education, and I make a full-time income because of it in the crypto space. So same thing, we're crypto education, but we have a couple of people out there who are challenging this by stating, why would I pay for crypto education when I can go to YouTube and get it for free? Now that sounds like a legitimate question, but it is also one of the most silliest things you ever heard of if you actually sit down and think about that statement. Why pay for it when I can get it for free? Why go to college and get a college degree when I can get the same information colleges are going to teach on YouTube for free? Why put my car at the car wash to get washed and detailed by professionals when I can go and wash the car and detail it in my own garage for free? I mean, I don't know. Why do I need a lawyer to represent me in court when I can study law myself and represent myself in court? Not just quality, but also time saving. See, understand, if that statement were true, then I should not be getting 1,000,001 questions asked to me daily from people that ask, can you teach me more about Bitcoin? Can you tell me what Bitcoin is? Can you tell me what blockchain is? Can you tell me what wallet I should use? Can you tell me what this is and what that is? When all they have to do is go to YouTube. Why do people not go to YouTube? Trusted sources. That's why. If you go to YouTube and you type in Bitcoin, you're going to have 1,000,001 things that pop up. Where do you begin? Who do you know to trust? See, when I first started my crypto education, I was self-educating myself. And I quickly realized how wrong that was, because I was having a conversation with a group of people that had made millions in this space already. And I joined in the convo and I said something, and they looked at me like, and I know, here's exactly what I said. Because they were they were debating with each other about how high Bitcoin will actually go. And they were saying, well, it's based on supply and demand. And they were like, man, in the next couple of years, when the millionaires realize that they need to get in on this, and there's only 21 million coins, then they're going to be able to, the demand's going to be so high, Bitcoin might reach 100,000 per coin. And then I chimed in and said, yeah, but the good news is that if there's a fork that comes out, then that's going to add more coins. And so now there's going to be more coins on the market. And they looked at me like, what? I said, yeah, there's going to be more Bitcoins because a fork will happen and it's going to create more coins. Now, what I said was partly true. But no, it's not. When a fork happens, that like Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin, it shares the same history, and Bitcoin Cash delivers to everybody who owned Bitcoin the same amount in Bitcoin Cash, but that's not more Bitcoin. That's just Bitcoin Cash. It's a new coin now. It's different. I didn't understand that. And they're like, where'd you get that? Who told you that? It's all YouTube. And they started laughing at me. So I quickly realized, okay, I need a trusted source if I'm going to get some information to make sure I'm getting the right information. And I joined a crypto education company at that time and got the right information. Another reason why you don't just run to YouTube, because most people don't even know what questions to ask. They don't know where to begin or where to start. They don't even know to ask, what's a Bollinger Bands? What's candlesticks? What's Ripple? What's an exchange? How do I buy Bitcoin? What is two-party or 2FA authentication? They don't know to even ask these questions. So when someone comes to me, why should I pay for it? Go sit down somewhere. That's a silly question. I mean, you go to work, you pay for it as well. You're paying for gas, you're paying for your clothes to be there. Everything you do in life, there's a cost. That cost might be in time or money or both. But rest assured, there is a cost and you get what you pay for. Isn't that true, ladies? You get what you pay for. You get it for free. Well, that's the type of quality you're going to get. So now, since I said that, let's go on to Chicago. Because there's still people out there running their mouth. Oh, why pay for it? They're ripping you off. Get out of here with that. Chicago, Bitcoin classes are all the rage for university students in Chicago. I'll say this. I spent 19 years in network marketing. 1 year I spent more than $15,000 on personal development training. I think that was that year. I flew to Orlando, Florida, and went to a Tony Robbins event. Walked on fire. Why am I paying these people money where I can go to YouTube and look up his fire walks for free? Really? When someone says that, they're telling me two things. One, they're completely ignorant and have no idea what's going on and don't understand the value of anything. Or two, they understand it exactly. They're just hating on it because they don't want that to succeed. It's either or. All right. Hosting the CME, the CBOE, and many investment funds, Chicago is an American and global financial trading powerhouse. As such, it should come as no surprise that students in the region are clamoring to learn about a major part of the economy of the future of Bitcoin. I mean, do you guys remember when, well, you don't remember this if you know your history, where was electricity introduced to the world for the very first time? Chicago. They flipped the switch and turned on Chicago. What was that called? The world, it's like the Olympics, but it was the World Fair or something fair. Chicago World Fair, something like that, where all technologies, new technologies were being introduced. For the kids today, because I had to help my son understand this, I said, think of Iron Man 2. I think it was Iron Man 2. When Tony Stark opened up his World Fair, like he had a whole city. That's Chicago. Chicago Fair does that. So it's no surprise that Chicago is kind of leading the way on this. Finance, business, and computer science students in Illinois are, what's the description? What's the adjective? Demanding demanding to learn more about Bitcoin and the technology that powers it. And university professors are showing they are up for the challenge. While in the recent past, discussions about Bitcoin were left to the end of the semester as a fun afterthought, learning about cryptocurrency today is an integral part of finance studies. My students are starting the class thinking about it, DePaul University Assistant Professor Lamont Black told the Chicago Tribune. Illinois Institute of Technology is set to offer its first class on blockchain this summer. University of Illinois Chicago professor Gib Bassett, head of the finance department, will teach about Bitcoin in a Chicago Exchange's MBA course this month for the first time in a decade due to the students' demands. They want to hear about Bitcoin. Their parents have told them it's a tulip bubble, he said, referring to the tulip bulb market in 1600s Holland that bloomed dramatically, then crashed. It's crazy, it's ridiculous, and their friends who invested 3 years ago are millionaires. There's clearly a generational component to this. That's true. It says don't fall behind. It's not so much about being ahead, it's making sure that you're not going to be behind, said Sarit Markovich. You know who else said that? Vladimir Putin. She began discussing Bitcoin in class 5 years ago, but back then it was hard for me to fill up the course, Markovich said. Students were interested in typical traditional banking. They were like, we don't want to hear about that. Tell us about mergers and acquisitions. In 2017, this changed drastically as over 50% of students became eager to learn about cryptocurrency. Now she has approval to create a new class focused on the subject for MBA students. Andrew Miller, an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering at University of Illinois at Urbana, is preparing to teach a class on smart contracts and says interest is surging. Enrollment was very fast as students see it as an opportunity to enter the financial technology development world. A whole lot more seems possible, he added. Let me add to this, and this is for every single one of you. The reason why Cryptogenics is here and why I'm not just excited about it, I am passionate about it. Not just because of the company. It's about what the company is bringing. Something that is needed. Something that is essential. Something that should be mandatory. We are talking about the greatest economic shift in wealth in the history of mankind for the most amount of people. And all you need to do is have access to the internet to gain it. We're talking about the greatest invention in technology since the internet. That's going to have the greatest impact on humanity since the introduction of agriculture. Do you understand this? We're talking about it's going to disrupt every industry on the planet. Even prostitutes, hookers, and strippers, as I've already covered. That's right, even they're getting Bitcoin booty, getting tattoos of QR codes on their body to get paid. The moment strippers are accepting this as money, you better believe it really is money. Come on now. We're currently training our kids in college for a world that will no longer exist by the time they graduate. If you want to survive for the next half of this century, the rest of this century, you better understand blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. I'll give you one free tip that's part of our education. Because someone said, well, Brandon, the internet, how can it be bigger than the internet? Here's why. See, the internet brought information technology. The ability to send emails and share things, but you can't transfer ownership over the internet. If you send somebody a picture, that person has a picture and so does everybody else has the picture. You don't own it. The difference with blockchain technology is you're now not just transferring information, you're transferring ownership digitally that cannot be copied. It cannot be doubled down or what you call double dipping. It's a ledger. It's the next generation of ledger. It's the third ledger system. The world has been operating on the two ledger for centuries. This now eliminates the two ledger system. You have to understand banking to understand what I mean by that. why the 3-ledger is so important, why they're calling this the next industrial revolution. And when you know this information, you either roll your eye or you laugh at the news media when they run their mouths calling it a bubble or trying to marginalize it. It can't be stopped. My problem is that average people that are alive right now, the greatest time in history to be alive, are not participating in this because they don't even know what's going on. You can't play the game if you don't know a game is being played. And then those that even know a game is being played don't know how to get on the court. They don't know how to get on the field. That's why education is important. They got to be educated. 50% of Americans have heard of Bitcoin. 5% own a piece of a Bitcoin. And 0.5% even understand what it is. I hope I'm being clear, because my 2 sons will become Bitcoin masters before they can be of age to drink legally. I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, an 11-year-old kid that wrote a book on Bitcoin and is selling on Amazon. I forgot the title of that. My son has it right now on him, so I don't have it in front of me. If you guys remember the title of that book, you can post it. 11-year-old kid. And you know what bet he made with his parents? If he makes $20 million, he can drop out of school. He's 11. And even he knows he can make $20 million in crypto before he hits 15 years old. He's 11. Yet, the baby boomers are running around talking about, oh, we're worried about criminal activity. We're worried about crime. We need to regulate it. We need to ban it. It's a bubble. Was that it? Yeah, the early bird gets the Bitcoin. That's the name of the book. Thank you, Chuck. That kid's going to be famous. I'm making my kid memorize it. My 10-year-old. By the time my 10-year-old graduates from high school, he will have more money in his own account than any professor for whatever school he goes to. You have to prepare yourself and the next generation, because Bitcoin can't be stopped. Are you going to be on the sidelines 10 years from now? Man, I remember when that Bitcoin was less than $10,000. When it's worth like $500,000 per coin. And your kids say, hey, I remember you talking about that. We saw it on the news 10 years ago. Ellen did a whole series on it. Ellen DeGeneres. It was on the Big Bang Theory. Did you get any Bitcoin back? Nah, I mean, I thought it was a scam. It was a Ponzi. The news said don't get it. I was going to get robbed. They're going to look at you like you're silly. Watch who you're listening to. Get educated. Once you're educated, the rest of the world opens up for you in this space. So that's enough preaching from me today. I want to also manage expectations again for those of you waiting for Cryptogenics. Tomorrow is soft launch, and it is just that. That's a soft launch. That's not pre-launch. Soft launch means that the programmers are testing the system. They're putting people in the genealogy. They're stress testing it. They're seeing where it crashes. What bugs are there? They're testing it. So we're not going to have all of our links tomorrow to go signing up and going crazy. It's just the beginning. Pre-launch is April 1st. We may get our links before then. We may get our links next week. Then we start putting more people in. See, it's a stress test. So as the days go on, we add more to it. We add more to it. The whole point is they're trying to break the system during the soft launch so that they know what to patch, what to fix, what to do. So don't come tomorrow and everybody's shooting me. Send me your link. I don't even have my link yet. That's just when the soft launch begins. It's getting exciting. In April, we've got 2 Cryptogenics events already planned now. I will be in London for the Blockchain Expo. We still haven't set a date on when we're going to have a meet and greet in London, but we probably will, whether it's a dinner or whatever. But then I'm flying to Sweden on the 21st, that's Saturday, for an event for Peter Blackwell and his team over there. We'll about have over 400 people in that room or so. So I'll be in Sweden, so will the other Pinnacle leader, Christy Snoddy, and also co-owner Will Fietlin. Same day in Houston, Texas, there's going to be the first United States crypto event. I think it might be the first unless somebody does something before then. But co-owner, you have Pinnacle leader Jairus Coleman will be there. Jason Mangan, founder, Leonard, founder, and also co-owner Stephen McCullough will be there. So we've got two major events happening on the same day for Cryptogenics. So it's getting exciting, guys. So with that, thank you guys for listening. I got more work to do. I hope you learned something from this. Another point I want to make, that the real value of Cryptogenics is not going to be its 45 lessons, the basics stuff. The real value is going to be the ongoing education, the ongoing knowledge that only our members will have access to. These crypto talks that I don't do it for entertainment purposes. I do it because I'm learning. And think about it. If I'm doing 2 of them a day, that's how fast information is coming and changing and going. Information from October of last year is irrelevant today. That's why I'm learning. I'm staying plugged in, staying in the know. That's the real value. That's what you're paying for. You're not going to get that on YouTube. So with that, thank you guys for joining us. See you all tonight for Late Night Crypto Talk. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.
Cryptogenics.